Welcome to PG6S channel. It's going to be a gun collection update video. I love videos like this, and it's been a little over a year since I did one, and I've got a lot of different guns, so I figured it's time to do one. Now, I'm going to be moving the camera around a lot because there's quite a few guns here. We're just going to stay here for now, and I'm going to go through these, and we'll go on the other side of the table and start those. We'll do handguns first. I like handguns, and there's not that many of them. 1911. This is a 1914 Colt 1911. That was a parts kit that I bought a new frame and rebuilt into a 1911 in 2014. The only parts on this gun that aren't from the original parts kit are the grips, the frame, and the barrel. The grips are 1911 A1 grips from World War II, because that's what I happen to like. The barrel is a mid-80s U.S. contract barrel, hard chrome lined, it'll last forever. It didn't come with a barrel in the kit, and it also didn't come with a frame. The frame is a Caspian Arms. What's really pretty cool is if you look up the information on the slide markings here, it comes up as a 1914 slide. If I get this to focus somewhere, there you go. If you look up the serial number on this Caspian frame on a Colt database, it also is a 1914 Colt serial number. It's kind of cool. Until you really look at what it says up here in the little fine print that says Caspian Arms, it looks legit like a fucking real 1911 from 1914. I like that about it, and it shoots awesome. There's a video I have me test firing it. I was planning to do a video on this thing, saying, you can go build yourself a really nice 1911 for not much money. But basically, the way I got this was hunting down parts of the biggest gun show in America, so I kind of went, I don't know if that's really true, and I wasn't in the mood to make videos. Anyway, that's enough about this thing. It is pretty sweet looking though. Set that aside. Okay, next to it, Beretta Jetfire. The Jetfire and the Minx are the same gun. The Jetfire is the 25 ACP version. The Minx is the 22 short version. I like the little tilt barrel Beretta autos. I've made videos about them in the past. I'd never had one of these. This is so much smaller than my Tomcat was. I quite like this pistol a lot. I'm going to get new grips for it though, because this one is kind of loose. I tried fixing it and it popped loose the second I shot it. Tell me in the comments what color grips you think I should get, because they make these in all colors now. Vintage Gun Grips is a maker of older plastic grips like this in the original plastic and everything. They take an original grip and make a master mold from it, and they recast grips in, I think it's Delrin plastic is what this is. They started doing that for Colt grips because Colt grips are so expensive and break all the time, and they became a what's it called, factory replacement part for Colt. In case you ever wondered anything about that, that's vintagegungrips.com. I'm going to be ordering some of those for this, and I can't decide if I want a reddish orange, black. I think they have some blue, some gray, all sorts of different colors on there. What color do you think would look good on that? Maybe I'll pick it. I don't know. Probably not, but there's a reasonable chance I'm going to still go with black. SIG P320. Had a lot of the newer handguns that came out this year. This is probably my favorite. I've had the VP9, I've had the Glock 42, Glock 41, I've had, there's something else that came out this year I got. I'll think of it later. Anyway, I really like the 320. I didn't think I would because I hate the 250, but this gun basically the trigger on this thing is like a 250 trigger, but it just has the brake. Okay, it eliminates all of the draw and weight out of it, and you just have the little crisp brake at the end. It's very nice. I kind of dig what they did looks-wise with it. They've changed the slide a little bit. It looks a little bit like an X5. Lower side is still kind of ugly. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know. It's growing on me. It's definitely better than the P250 was. Glock 19, the Gen 3 nickel boron. I probably won't ever own a Gen 4 again. Not unless I just get a wild hair to try one again, because I had a bad experience and I don't think they really work. Even now, I would tell you not to buy one. I kind of like the nickel boron coating. It definitely gives it a different look for a Glock, and I think it looks pretty good. Other than that, it's just a Glock 19. If you want to know my feelings on a Glock 19, I have shit tons of videos. Okay. Heritage Rough Rider. Probably going to do a review on this gun because I've been curious about these for years, and they are better than I expected. I mean, it's actually a blued finish. The timing's actually pretty decent on it. They seem to work. They shoot well. For a $150 gun, you know, maybe. I paid $180 for this, but it came with a 22 Magnum cylinder. You can get the just plain 22 one as cheap as $100 if you wait till Black Friday and go to Academy or Bass Pro. They sell them that cheap there. I may pick up another one of these if I can get it that cheap on Black Friday. I don't know. Remains to be seen. But I actually kind of like the grips on this one. Most of them have kind of shitty grips. This one is actually shitty, but I don't know. I like the color. It looks okay. That, and I think the grips are bamboo, which I think is pretty strange. I'm going to call Heritage and confirm that, but the grain-wise, I've worked with a lot of bamboo, and it sure as fuck looks like it to me. I don't know. I might be wrong. If it is bamboo, it's genius on their part because it's strong and it grows fast, and you could have a fucking backyard-sized patch of it and never run out of wood. Anyway, this one isn't staying, but it is a Rising 22 automatic target pistol. Rising, you may remember, made a submachine gun for the U.S. military in World War II. This was the only other gun they ever made, and there aren't very many of them. This is going to get sold. It's not a very reliable little gun, and it's worth more to other people than it is to me. I'm going to take it to the NRA Collectors Show in Tulsa. It's the Wanamaker Arms Show. Somebody there will probably pay me more than I think it's worth. So, and it came with this ancient holster too, so, which is also Rising, which is pretty interesting. And that's it for handguns. Yay. That took almost 9 minutes. Okay, let's start with the smallest ones. This is going to eventually be an M4. It's a Punisher Skull Spike Slower. It's going to look exactly like this gun. Plain Jane M4 clone. It's not going to have the aim point. I'm just going to put a carry handle on it, because I found one for 20 bucks out the gun show, and I found this lower cheap, and I have a friend who has an FFL who ordered a bunch of those parts kits. When I found both the other pieces I would need to build it cheap, I was like, it means only, 400 bucks I can get a parts kit, and I'd only have, 500 in an AR build. Can't really turn that down, so I'm going to do that and have a backup. This gun, I basically built to be, a clone of what we had in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's a M4 SOP mod type build. It's an early one though. The M4 SOP mod has continually evolved. This is kind of known as a Block 1 build, in that it's still got the A-frame front sight. Here, let me set it back here. Still got the A-frame front sight. Still has the older style aim point. Still has a Maytech rear sight. Detachable quad rail as opposed to one that's built into the barrel nut. So you could easily pop that, quad rail off and pop on normal handguards. You could do it in a minute. Okay, if you had a flathead screwdriver, you could do it. There's one flathead screw holding that thing on, and it's only holding on the top section. Anyway, you can build that off of one of those cheap parts kits I was mentioning for about $1,000. That's pretty cool. It also has a spikes lower, calico jack, in case you're wondering. The parts kits are Delton. Apparently Delton built up a crazy crap ton of fucking parts during the whole "bomb's gonna take your guns" scare. Because they had every gun that they were going to make for the next 2 years sold, according to what they said then, but yet now they're having trouble selling their shit. Seems strange to me. That was only about a year ago that they said that. Whatever. While we're on ARs, this one is a Colt M16A1 parts kit on a actual Colt lower. Notice it's stamped law enforcement, government restricted. Kind of cool. It's a Clinton era band gun. It's a police gun. They only made about 3,000 of these, and only 134 of them got out the door without that police mark on them. It's a pretty sweet little gun. It's probably my favorite AR. It's like a Vietnam era gun, but with modern internals. It has a 1-in-7 twist barrel on it, and it still has all of the original Colt bolt and all that though. Anyway, it's a pretty neat little gun. It's definitely representative of the Vietnam era, which, as you can tell, you're kind of looking at the Vietnam era guns, which brings up this one. It's a Remington 870, and this is pretty much a clone of the guns we had in Vietnam, we being the U.S. That furniture came from some store in Kansas that lists stuff on eBay, and it's a dead ringer for those 1960s police stocks that were on the guns that they sent to Vietnam. Most of the guns that they sent to Vietnam were 20-inch barrels. All of them that they sent to Vietnam were 20-inch barrels, and most of them had rifle sights. A few had bead sights, but most had rifle sights. And this was kind of the standard Vietnam 870. I have a sling swivel on the front here. I still have to get the rear one drilled. And once I have that, I'm having an M1 Garand sling on it. It's going to look pretty cool, I think. I have that 20-inch rifle-sighted barrel for it. I also have a 28-inch like bird hunting barrel. So that's kind of like my hunting shotgun. But yet it's correct to the Vietnam era shotgun too, so I think it's kind of cool. Behind the M16 is a Polytech M14. Pretty cool. I actually love that gun. If you can find one of those for under $1,000, I would just buy it. If it's, pushing $1,500, I'd stay away from it, because you could go get a Springfield Armory. But if you can get it cheaper than what you get a Springfield Armory for, and still have enough money to replace the few parts on it that you would need to, it's a good gun. I found that on Arms List here locally. Just popped up as an ad, $700, Polytech M14. I was meeting the guy within 15 minutes. Literally, he posted it on Arms List, and 15 minutes later we met and I bought it from him. Behind that is an M1 carbine. This is National Postal Meter. I think it's 1942-43 production. And this stock has an eye cut on it, which is a really early cut. This stock is probably 1941. I don't know how it came to be on this carbine. It's been refinished, but still, it's a nice old stock, so I don't care. I like it. Behind that is a H&R M1 Garand from the Korean era. It's all correct for Korea, except for the op rod is a Winchester op rod. So at some point it went through a factory refurb or whatever, but it doesn't look like it even went to Korea to me. It pretty much got sent through a few armories over and over again, maybe trained a little bit, and then went into storage where it was sold through CMP. That gun is one of the first guns I actually bought. I had my grandfather buy that when I was 16 for $300. I was like, you hold on to it and I'll get you the money. Well, like, 6 years later, I was like, I finally got the money together. Here's your $300. So I'd actually kind of forgotten about it. But anyway, that's where I got that. Behind that is the BAR, which I traded an AR-15 for at the start of the great panic of the post-Sandy Hook era, I guess. Traded it for the parts and the receiver, and then had it put together. I love that gun. It's awesome. I don't shoot it that much, but that's because it's kind of a pain in the ass to take to the range. Behind it, we have a M16 A1 trainer. I have a really old red dot mounted on that from the 70s, just because I wanted to mount it on something. I didn't want to mount it on a real gun. I picked that thing up because it's a 1960s era trainer and it still has its magazine, and the guy only wanted like $50 for it, and the ones from the 80s with the magazine shaved are bringing like 150. So I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. I'm stupid enough to buy anything, apparently. Also back there is a Law Rocket. I just think these are cool, and it was cheap. Cool and cheap equals a buy, in my opinion, usually. Oh, and I almost forgot one of the handguns. If you stuck around this long, this will get its own video here pretty soon, but can't believe I forgot this. But this is a handgun. It's a R.J. Braverman pin gun. And watch the magic. See the little trigger kicked out there. Barrel 22 caliber, very cool. I can't believe I found this. I traded an AK-74 for it, and I think I stole it doing that. You just don't see these. When you do see them for sale, the last 5 completed auctions on Gunbroker went north of $1,200 for one of these. I have it in this nylon pouch here. It came with a nylon pouch, but I have that tucked away in a sock drawer because it has a leather decal on it that's kind of brittle, and I don't want to ruin it. So for carrying it around, I have a flashlight pouch-like thing. Stick it in my pocket, my keys won't hurt it. Because yes, I'm going to carry my pin gun around. It's just way too cool not to. Like I said, I'm going to make a video on that. Maybe right after this, I don't know. Don't hold me to it. Okay, that's all the handguns and that side of the table. Now we're on this side of the table. Let's start at the front. This is actually my first gun, also with an ancient red dot on top of it. I'll probably do a video on those eventually too. I have a small collection of them now. But, it's a Marlin Model 7Y in 22 long rifle. It's a pretty cool little gun. And the red dot, I think, is pretty slick. Let's see if we can get you a picture. See? No batteries. It's all fiber optic. I had a 4-power Weaver. I usually had mounted on there, and that's a Weaver Quick Point. And it's just for 22s. They made them for all sorts of things. They had the larger Weaver bases too, but I found that cheap on eBay, and it had that base on it, so that's the only rifle I have it'll fit. Eventually I'll buy a Marlin 795 probably, and it'll go on there. Next, VZ58. Pretty cool gun. You can get these cheap right now, $3.99 from Palmetto State Armory. I would buy a couple of them if you got the money. It's kind of like those ARs. The ARs for the money, I can get those Delton parts kits and basically have a fully functional AR for about 500 bucks. You can get this for $3.99, a fully functional gun. If I had $1,000 right now, I would probably buy one of each of those and some accessories for the AR. Those are definitely going to go up. Behind it, this is a CZ52. Most people don't get to see one of those. It's in that oddball Czechoslovakian caliber. Has that weird side folding bayonet. I want to really get a good view of this because you don't see these very often. And I know people are probably interested. That'll also probably get its own video. And in front of that is a VZ24. So that's every major rifle issued to the Czechoslovakians for, I don't know, the 20th century pretty much. I think that's pretty cool. Behind it is a Russian SKS, a 1944 Tula Mosin-Nagant. That's a 1950 Tula SKS. And then behind that is a 1944 Ishkvesk M44. And behind that is a 1944 PU Sniper, also Ishkvesk. And behind that is a Kimber Model 82 Government. I've had that since I was a kid also. It's kind of like the M1 Garand. My grandfather had it, which I'm glad he did because I probably would have sold it by now if he hadn't. That particular gun I used to shoot small bore rifle competitions with, and it's dead nuts on at 100 yards. I mean, you can shoot a dime-sized group at 100 yards with iron sights with that. It's incredible. And last but not least, that's a Remington 700 in a Accuracy International stock with a Trijicon 5-20 by 50 AccuPoint on it. That is the long-range sniper rifle of the bunch, I guess. I built that just thinking I wanted something like that eventually, and I had the extra money at the time, and anyway, I just thought it was cool. It's one of the only 308s I own. I'm not a big 308 fan, and I have 2 of them now. What I did was I bought a Remington 700 Police, and I was kind of forced to do that at the time. It was what I wanted to do anyway, but all of the SPSs were off the market, and they're still off the market because of the Exmark Pro trigger, I think it's called. It had a recall. Well, the Police series has the upgraded trigger to that, so no worries. It's just an overall better gun. I sold the stock that the Police comes with is a Macmillan, and it's not my cup of tea, but people want it, so I sold that for a couple $100. Somebody with an SPS Tactical that wanted a good stock, there you go, That Accuracy International stock that's on it is somewhere between $750 and $900, depending on which model you get. That's the one that's $750 because it doesn't have a folder. The folder on those is basically to make it easier to clean, which it's already easy enough to clean for me. I wish I had gotten the folder, but it's not necessary. It doesn't make it shorter. When I originally was building that gun, I was thinking I was going to get the Epperly stock for it, which would be awesome. But I got to looking, and the Epperly stock was like $1,500. The Aces was $750 without the folder, and I love the look of the L96A1, which is what that thing looks like. So it was an easy call for me. Harris bipod, whoop, there it is. And the sling on that is actually a GP utility strap. Google that on eBay or whatever, and you'll find it. It's a cheap military utility strap. You cut the metal snap hooks off it and replace them with paracord, and it makes an awesome sniper rifle sling. It also makes an awesome AR-15 sling too. But for something like this, that thing weighs 17 pounds. And it's extra wide and comfy, and it's made to carry ammo cans with. So it can take some weight. Believe it or not, that thing weighs almost as much as that thing. Anyway, that's it for my gun collection as it stands right now. There is one other gun that's not here. That's a 1897 trench gun. I bought a non-takedown 1897 cheap at a garage sale that someone had fucked up in the 60s by rebluing and put a horrendous stock set on. I bought an old USGI stock set and a new Chinese barrel shroud bayonet lug thing for it, and I'm having a gunsmith turn it into a trench gun. It'll be really cool when it gets done, but it's kind of on a waiting list right now. I should have it sometime later this month, I would think. November at the very latest. Anyway, that's it. Sorry you guys didn't get to see the Russian guns any better, but they're just all kind of clustered together. They're pretty tight, and I don't want to undo them. Those PU snipers, Aim Surplus is selling those for like $5.95, I think. And they are real PU snipers. They were Arsenal refurbished, which doesn't matter to me. And they don't come with that lens cap. I had to pay $30 for that. I was kind of pissed about that. But I definitely recommend them. It's the slickest Mosin I've ever gotten. It's just a great thing. That, and it didn't come with a sling either. That kind of pissed me off. I tried ordering one on eBay. Don't ever buy Mosin slings online. Go to a gun show and buy one in person, because they sent me one of those cheap ass looking refurb slings that I'm probably going to end up giving away and spend $20 at a gun show on a real one. Anyway, I said that's about it. I've said that a couple times now though. Almost a 30-minute collection video, so I hope you guys like it. I'll try to upload this here pretty soon. Yeah. See you guys later.